We got new time-limited challenges in Valhalla, and I will tell you how to easily complete them. And there are some interesting things going on with Mjolnir, and I touch on that secret that you can find and actually go to a little bit in Norway. So a ton to go over. A like on the video would of course really help me out. And let's go. As you likely know, I like to do weekly Helix credit pack giveaways here on the channel, so you don't have to pay money for anything yourself. You can click the link in the pinned comment if you want to participate, and these giveaways are for subscribers of the channel only. Okay, let's quickly go over the new challenges that you can of course access via the Ubisoft Connect section of the game. In the time limited section, you will find that the Assassination community challenge is back. So just by doing one assassinate, you will already get the reward. Like sure, not immediately, we will have to wait till everyone playing Valhalla gets to 70 million assassinations. But we will totally be able to get that. So I will be checking back and of course report back when we can all get our opal. For 2 solo challenges, we need to go to Norway, to that familiar dummy area that's actually really close by to where you spawn. We need 50 kills with the bearded axes, so I just equip 2 of those and do the heavy attacks to instantly take the dummies out. Of course, putting the game on easy will let you more easily kill those dummies, and then after 50 kills, you have the challenge completed. And you need to do the same for the sword, and this sort of icon in the Ubisoft Connect menu kind of triggered me because we of course only have 2-handed swords, while we all want one-handed swords as well. So do a heavy attack with a 2-handed sword near a dummy that counts as 1. So do it 50 times for another 5 opal. You can also do an Orlog game in Norway, and you need 1 Orlog win for another solo challenge. So totally do it here if you haven't already. And also a drinking game is needed, and then I just go to London, for example. You see the drinking games, of course, thanks to the horn icons on the map. And then win, and you got all 4 challenges. Now let's hope that the opal we are saving up can buy us some good loot. The gnome is the daily selection item today. It looks like this, as noted in the JorRaptor Discord. Not really worth it. And many of you actually reached out that you only had 2 items in the weekly selection on Tuesday. So Ubisoft still needs to fix their stuff. So yeah, there are some weird things going on. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I showed you the image of Reda growing as well. We got a new one now from Lynchio. Mojo Riot reached out because in his game a random cloud appeared out of nowhere, floating above the ground, and then it disappeared when Eivor got into combat. Really weird as well. Likely just a bug, but more interesting though was the tweet from Rodrigo. The quality is sadly not that great, but you do see him use both Mjolnir and the Excalibur when fighting this shield bearer enemy. Then after a parry damage kill, he drops a smoke bomb on the ground thanks to the Assassin's Cantrip skill, and I think he picks up a weapon here, but then instead of throwing that weapon, he throws Mjolnir to his enemy, and then it comes back to him. I know, right? So really, what the heck is going on here? Because of course it looks pretty clunky, but also not completely glitched out. And it also makes sense that you can throw Mjolnir and that it then returns. So I'm really trying to find an explanation for this. Maybe this is something that Ubisoft is working on that already sneaked into the game, or it was an idea at first but they never finalized it. Or it's just a really weird glitch that happened because Eivor was picking up a weapon from the enemy, but he had Mjolnir in his hand and decided to throw that instead. And of course, if you found anything, you can always reach out to my Twitter at JorRaptor. Another interesting thing that I teased during one of the previous videos was a weird secret in Norway with the out of bound area. Rio Wolf shared this awesome shot, but there's more going on here. Sharif pointed this out also on Twitter, that door or gate that we see very early on in the game is actually on top of a mountain in Norway. And you likely remember this, right? Early on in the game, you visit the Sears hut, get some kind of drug, and then see a vision. Eivor will leave this what first seemed like the Sears hut, and then see Sigurd and follow him to this gate. This of course later got some extra meaning that I won't spoil. And then Fenrir of course shows up, looks over you, and then you're back into the Sears hut. So back into the regular map of Valhalla, you would think, right? But turns out that instead of making this vision a separate instant area like we see with other parts of the game, we can actually see this area from a distance. It's over here on the map, so all the way to the right in the early Norway game area, and then you will see a sort of force field when you go here. And actually by summoning Sunin, you get a better look at this mountain and can also see that gate again and also the church. But then I got reached out by Alex Camp via the input@joraptor.com email address you can of course also use to reach out. And he shared a video of him actually being in front of the gate through some tactics. You cannot go through the gate, but by doing some interesting climbing techniques, you can actually get to the water though, that we also saw, of course, in that early game vision. There is no one there now, but it's still cool to see again from up close. And then by doing some more climb tactics, he got to the Sears hut, which is like part of this enormous, church-like building, a skull hut, if I pronounce it correctly, something like that. So pretty weird, right? It might just be nothing, but it's still interesting that they, for this vision, did not let us go to an instant area that is not actually in the game world. You can of course already play the Norway part before installing the rest of the game though, like we also see in previous titles. So that is maybe why they had to put this in the Norway map, because that was the only kind of content you had in the game. Kinda makes sense, or maybe it will be used later. I told you in a previous video that Ubisoft hinted at a way for us to replay mythical creatures at some point. And this would of course be a cool arena or location to do that. But again, I think it's just here for technical reasons, but I would love to be wrong. When we know more about that, and of course future content that is coming to Valhalla, I got a ton of questions about the river raids. I don't think it's coming next week, but likely the week after that. I will of course keep you up to date here. So totally subscribe for everything Valhalla if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help me out. Totally check out my previous video on the weekly selection and some other Valhalla news by clicking on the screen, or I will link to it at the end of our picture showcase. You can of course send your Valhalla screenshots to the JorRaptor hashtag on Twitter or via the dedicated pictures Discord channel, and you can enter my Discord via the link in the pinned comment, accept the rules, and then you are able to post. Okay Joyce, come in, the photo mode expert here on the channel. You selected 3 shots from the community, so I'm curious which one you selected.
Hello. Let's start with KingSing93 over on Twitter with an action shot of Eivor as the mighty Thor and Mjolnir in hand, ready to strike. It's funny, I use this pose a lot too on creating pictures like this, but never seen Eivor actually smile while aiming.
Cool.
This is not done with that face app you use sometimes, is it?
Face app? I don't know what you're talking about. I never use Face app for thumbnails, so moving on.
Really?
Next picture.
Up next, Animace is over on Discord. Took Eivor to Vinland and might have gotten a bit too close to the legendary animal. Find it very funny how Eivor is post like personal space. The animal seems very amused by it.
Yeah, COVID rules. I never killed this legendary animal. I should go back. I should still do that.
You should do it on stream.
Oh.
Ideas. And finally we go to Flame, who took this tense shot of a fight between Eivor and a frost giant. What I love about this is not only the composition, but also the ambience of the area the picture was taken in. It's not too overly lit, but you can still see what is happening. Also, it seems like the frost giant is on its last breath, the way it's bending down.
Yeah, and did Eivor just get loose from the chains that are on the ground there? It seems a bit like that. I think it's a really cool shot. Thanks Joyce for selecting these, and I'm curious which one you will select next time. So totally send your shots, subscribe for way more Valhalla content, and totally check out our previous video by clicking on the screen. For now we will speak to you next time, and goodbye!
Goodbye!